Hello, everybody. How's it going? I have Mr. Noise Pawn here today for our interview.
What's up?
Or
What's up?
would you prefer to go by Brett?
Uh, I guess I'm just well known as just noise at this point, so I accept either or.
Either or,
But
I love it. No, I love it. Well, for those that don't know, Noise Pawn has made top cut for U.S. Nationals 2 years in a row, back to back, putting him in the top 5% of the player pool in the American base, which is pretty significant.
sure.
No.
I have no idea.
Hey, you're too humble, man. You're too humble. No, but today I just kind of wanted to ask you some questions, get your input on things, and get more personalized with the over the board scene and get behind the scoops a little bit. My first question, I guess, would be, as someone that played in both 2024 and 2025, what would you say were the main differences? What did you enjoy versus not enjoy from either year?
I've been actually thinking about this a lot, just based on my experience from the last one. I think my experience from it's 2025 this year, last year was 2024.
Mhm.
My experience from this one is I feel like I had way more fun in Denver. I came a day and a half earlier, where last year I came at like midnight before the game started, so I didn't really get to talk to anybody and just had to start playing. Where this year it was like kind of just I think the overall difference of making nationals, just the mindset for my first year was just like to prove something, or I don't know what that means, or just feel like I was good enough to make it. And then this year is just like, okay, we're making it. I got to return to the homies, and I feel like it's my responsibility to do that. So when I got there, I was like, all right, I'm with the homies again, especially since I just moved to Chicago late last year, and I played a lot in the New York scene and the East Coast or Northeast, and so I just knew a lot of people over there. I knew a lot of them were gonna make it, and then I of course know some people from Chicago now. Big fan of Zhao
Of
at this
course,
point.
Zhao's my
Love
favorite
that
player.
guy. Yeah, and so my vibe coming in was more casual. I was actually way more nervy this year. The first year I was very calm and just was I think I played way better, honestly, and just had
Yeah.
way better games. This year I felt very casual, nervy, had no practice kind of coming in like over the board because no one in Chicago likes me and wants to meet up with me and play.
No, absolutely.
um but yeah, then we just started playing games, and I feel like I was having less fun to start. I was not playing probably the best and was probably not that socially engaged. So I was very like tired physically, and I don't know. It was a weird vibe. So it was just kind of like survival vibe at that point, and then made semis. So I had like different experience, different mindsets, different for each of them, and had like the same result, which I guess is okay because I
Sure.
feel like I played not as good this year, but I also lucked out on the table draws as well. Like the first year I played insane and just had insanely hard tables. And so it was like a brutal battle, and even my semi was ridiculous.
Or
And this year,
I was just going to say, for
yeah,
those that don't know, I think you went 3 out of 4 in 2024.
yeah, I went 3 out of 4, and it's funny because those first three tables, I guess, like all had good people on them, and then the one I
Sure.
lost, I had nobody on them, but I was so tired, and
Yeah.
I didn't care at that point because three, I just knew I didn't like have the care to go
Yeah.
4-0 as hard. I could have won if I feel like I put my best into it, but my problem with just these tournaments and just tournaments in general, my weakness is endurance. I just
Yes.
can't keep up and like kind of
100%.
out, and just based on my personality, I'll, I don't know. I feel like I played my semi this year very laid back and like quiet, and honestly, probably most of my games I was generally more quiet than I was the
To
first year.
to your point of endurance, something that I noticed, and I don't know if anybody else really did, it seems like the games this year averaged closer to an hour 15, whereas last year the games definitely felt more 90 minutes to 2 hours in length. I don't know if that was your experience as well, but
Oh, it's hard to say. I think I only had like 1 or 2 games that lasted near the end. My first two of them were really fast.
Yeah,
Last year, I felt like I had games that were like midway to like 50 to 80% through like most tables. Never the last table. I don't know. I don't I didn't feel much of a difference personally. I have no
sure.
idea, just because the games all meld together after some time, and your brain's just kind of all over the place. But
Yeah,
I was yeah, the four in a day, and then even leading into the next day, I just woke up and like for my semis, I was not prepared this year, and just kind of was like, I was playing with Goat Atik. So I love that guy, and I was really hoping he would win because I was still fine, just like making semis. I'm like, I like him. I hope he does well and push because he was trying a little harder in the game, and we had no chance. I think we got high rolled mostly in our semis, so that
yeah.
was a little disappointing. It was a very I felt like I was just kind of sitting there waiting for me to lose. Where like the year before, it was very active, very close, very competitive, and it came down to winning rolls. Where this year is just like, all right, sounds good. Looks like we're screwed. All right,
We're
maybe next
fighting.
year. Yeah,
I
I
mean
don't know.
that's the big thing. Like getting two semis, I feel like if you're a strong player, you have a really good shot at it. But a lot of people don't realize just one game and you're out. Like it's very easy to lose a single game, you know. At least with four, you're proving consistency, and majority of the top players are winning 2 out of 4, which is good to see. But
Yes, I agree, especially over 4 games. Like, I think I like that move over 3. It does make the day feel longer, but I think it adds more to yes. When you start to see the winners, the it feels like the quality is more proven to a degree. And then yeah, semi is just kind of pray, pray you can
right,
get one
right.
in, and
Hope for the
you're
best.
supposedly playing for like against better people too at that point. So my table was generally pretty chill and relaxed, where last year it was chill, but it was like very heavy table talk, where this year was just kind of it was so easy to see the path to how everything was playing out, so there wasn't like much need to do things. And maybe that's like a problem on me. I'm not super aggressive table talk. Like I'll say things and I'll whinge. I'm a
Yeah.
whinger. Like
No,
if things
absolutely.
are attacking me, I'm like, there was a funny game in like my second round where I was like, oh god, like I lucked out. I feel like on the table draw and just had placement abuse on them and was just high, like hitting my rolls hard. And they blocked me legit like 10 times in a row. And all they did was just count every time they blocked me like consecutively. I'm like, all right, that's 7 times now. I'm like, I don't think it's gonna stop him, but I didn't know what else to say. And I
Sure.
feel like my one weakness is like I play a lot online. People obviously know me a lot online. I played a lot online before I even knew the tournament scene in person, and so I feel like I'm more comfortable behind a computer and just talking. And then, especially when I know people already to a
Right.
degree, I feel like I
Absolutely.
know how to. Where over the board, I may be a little bit more reserved, and I might have to get better at that, which I'm
No,
starting to
for
do.
sure. And it's a give and take because with strangers, you don't really know. If you open yourself a little
Yes.
too much, then you find yourself, you could be shorting yourself on the social dynamic, which I felt in my games. um, yeah, it was weird. I would say I had a good table draw this year as well. I never played with any of the players in my 4 rounds except for one, but I only played with them a single time in another event. So I wasn't like
Mhm.
on, I guess, not friendly as in bad, but I wasn't on familiar terms with any of the people that I played with. Uh,
Yeah, I played with 2 people I knew from online, Michael Bricked Up, and then, Navid, who was on that streamed, semi game. And then I played with Liam, who was in my semi last year,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
very nice, and I played him in my final game. So those were the only people I believe I really knew prior to, um,
Uh,
a and even then, they were, like, chill games with those people, and, like,
sure.
it didn't I don't know, it was very relaxed.
Liam was the one that played with you, Andrew, and Joe, or
Y
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. I was going to ask because this is kind of one of the hot topics. How did you feel about the time clock? Did you like it? Didn't like it? It seemed more experimental this year, but
it's tough to say in totality, especially for me. People who play with me know me. I'm a very slow person, and I had a bad habit of missing like colonist clocks like in
sure.
many games back in the day. And I'm just slow in general, more so maybe because I'm not the most confidently deliberate person. I just kind of sit back, like I say, a little more reserved, and if I'm talking, it's a lot of just BS, random stuff half the time to fill up space. But
Sure.
like I'm more like observed from afar kind of guy, and then sometimes it just takes me a while to like I like know the action is maybe right, but I'll take like 20 seconds to confirm on it or do something like that. So I'm a little slow. I only was close to using my bank twice, one in my fourth round game, which I didn't care about because I was just high rolling. I most of the time was because I would just keep sevening out a lot and then just throw away cards. And that was a little confusing. I didn't know the rules on pausing on 7 outs for other people's
Yeah.
turn versus not pausing when it's your turn. So I kept accidentally pausing when I 7 out, and the guy is like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "Oh, sorry. I didn't even know that was a rule until the fourth round." And then I almost used all my bank in the semi game because
Really?
I was low rolling. I rolled the least and just was I was the army guy, and I was rolling no wheat. I was on the 8 wheat, and it rolled like maybe 3 times, and one of them was blocked. In the first steal against me, Atik robbed my wheat, so I had like no wheat the whole game, and I just had to like figure out how to port stuff for devs and like figure out with the table because we were that's why Barack won eventually was he just hammered consistently some back-to-back rolls. He was on double fives and tens, and they just started hitting. And so I thought I had a comfortable army lead, but then like 2 turns he bought like 5 devs, and I
Yeah.
wasn't rolling anything, so it was really hard to get me stuff. So it was like every time I got to my turn, I was just trying to think of the best what we could do, and it just didn't manifest. I like the smoothness of like the coordination, especially like the global placement timer and the feeling that everyone starts on the same page. I think that has a cool like just just a vibe to a tournament. It feels like more legit and like you don't have a game 50 minutes starting later because people just like can't get through placements, whatever. And I'll
Right.
say I take long on placements too, generally, but it forces you. I feel like these are good guidelines for a tournament this big to like start forcing people to play around those boundaries. But personally, and like just a general game of Catan, I would love to sit down and have no time limit ever and just allow people to just figure things out to the max. So I'd love like a 3 hour game of like one good game, but I just don't know if that's like fit for a tournament setting. And then
Yeah.
my idea though for maybe semis and finals is maybe they could strip back the timer for those a little bit or throw those away because I think it works on like the bigger scale to like move things along. And I think it's less necessary in other games, but I know everyone's on like a schedule.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason they did it, if anything, was to get the games to start and end at roughly the same time. That's interesting, though, you mentioned about almost running out of your bank. I think in all 4 of my games, I only used 5 minutes total. Like, I found myself actioning within the 90 seconds every turn. Or it might have been 60, I'm trying to remember. It's either 60 or 90, but yeah. It was very rare that anybody else cut under their bank, but I think the games were going pretty quick on our end.
Yeah, I also think I was the only one to almost run out,
Yeah.
so I think it was just me. I think a
Hey,
lot of other people they got along just fine.
no, I mean, it obviously worked out. I think that's something that some people should do as well, is learn how to slow down the game a little bit. But I mean, the time
It
bank,
works both ways because
yeah,
some people really know what they're doing and like are always on edge, like every other person's turn, like no, and then because of that, they know immediately what to say table talk wise and like how to say it. Like they're already formulating in their head like how to approach something, and that's where I think I'm to get like better. I gotta like step out of like that play style a little bit and already be thinking because I if someone's very aggressive at my table and is like clearly manipulating someone or like being on their
whatever.
side
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
and
yeah.
like making things work, I'll say my piece and like what I think is best and like sometimes try to like utilize that person's being a little aggressive, like that kind of side of things. But when I see it working and they're kind of like stuck in that loop with that person, I feel like I have trouble like butting in and like finding room for myself. And like if I was deliberately on edge most of the game, like ready to fire with socially at sometimes, like you can beat someone to the punch that kind of has that play style. Um, but
That's
and part of that's the endurance thing again, like
yeah.
especially as you get later on, and even the semis, I was still tired. I'm just like I'm like I was kind of praying I just made it through that game to maybe be more social if I made the final because I was just I didn't know I didn't have the
No,
energy.
I like that point you brought up because that was something that I kind of struggled with too. Like when you have table talkers at this high level, I think you kind of break them into two main categories. You have the friendly, social, buddy buddy, and then you have the
Yeah,
kind of more aggressive. I'm pointing out every right
yeah,
move, wrong move, and I find myself to be more on that side, which can kind of hurt yourself if you get a I don't know if the term is perceived as less experienced table, but
yeah.
that was something like I feel like I have to work on in pivoting. Like when you know you get into a table with people that are as good or better than you, I think that's where that aggressive approach makes more sense. But I don't know if you found that to be
There's positives to each for sure. I think naturally just starting to play in person is I'm a very I think relatable person. I can talk to a lot of people at the table and just I like to talk about random stuff that's just like
sure.
outside of the game. Just to get to know people, and then that takes my mind on it, like the stress off too. I'm just like, oh, I'm having fun, you know,
Yeah,
and that kind of vibe and energy can work with a lot of people. But then, you know, sometimes when things really have to get done,
yeah,
or like you have to like, okay, like this is just, like being able to handle that in like a direct way without being, you know, a mean-spirited person and still connecting with them. Empathy. I think I'm like okay at that. It's just like
empathy. Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, and that depends. Yeah, if you're playing random people, if you're playing online people you already know, or just people you're familiar with from the tournament scene. I don't know. And I really just I hate playing like uncomfortable games where I think someone's just kind of clearly being the dick at the table. And
yeah,
I will even deliberately tell people like if I'm pacing behind or if like it's clearly a 1v1 between two people, I'm just always rooting and on the side of the chill person, the nice
yeah.
person, or like who I just because I want that to be slightly rewarded at the end of the day. For sure. And I'd rather come out of the game like, yes, I lost and maybe I could have tried to, but like the person who won, good for them. And like, and that's why I was just like in my sum, I was like, I was really hoping Atik would win, and I could just be like, oh yeah, root for him and move on. And that was the feeling with Zhao. It was just like, oh my god, I love playing with Zhao. We had such a good game, and I'm glad he won. And I was rooting for him all the way. So I'm always happy to lose to a very chill person. And so I hope that kind of those vibes while still playing a you know a very technical good game and maybe socially at people's throat at times while you can still be chill I think,
Oh, for
but it's
sure.
like it has to happen, it has to happen like in some of these games. It's just that's just how it works.
I was going to ask, you did mention you played with two tables of someone you knew. How do you think you should navigate a table where you have two random people and one person that you're both on good or familiar terms with? Um,
It's tough. I would say it also depends on just the board layout where people's spots at. Like I think you always have to play off the randomness of just like the spots people get, and maybe that's at times to like coordinate with that person and not be so adversarial. Like I prefer to at least like I've really hated the games where I'm adversarial with one person that I know. So I prefer to like get on the same page with them to kind of coordinate a way where we both end up on top. And again, I'm like happy if they win and they gave myself a shot, and I'm happy that I gave myself a shot. So I had this happen with Navid. I think we just sat down. We didn't like pretend. Well, we like pretended to not know each other for a
yeah.
second, but then it just kind of happens. And you call people by usernames too instead of real names. It's like that just slips out. And
Squash.
so once, yeah, yeah. So I think we did like the best strategy possible is we immediately started the game we coordinated our positions off each other, like for trade value. Like I think on their own they were pretty weak setups
Sure.
compared to the other two people. And right when the game started, the other two guys came right for us, so we were just like, okay, we gotta we gotta be on the same page here. We both like worked out in the middle of the game. There was competition for longest road, and I think Navid potentially could have won and got away with it, but I just like looked at him like I spent like 2 minutes just talking to him like, I can't connect my roads here, but I'm gonna start. Like, you should let me do this. Like, here's what I can do for you. And we just worked out. It wasn't adversarial at all. And we ended up in the best position where I needed to win the game and he needed to at least get 9 points. And then we
Yeah.
both needed to then win our next game, and we both did. So like it was the perfect sequencing and setup and just like cooperation. And then I played Michael my first game, and that didn't matter because he just had that first spot with the or wheat, and that just high rolled
Uh,
in our game.
that was the
And
853, I think.
no, this was 6-9-11,
Oh,
I
6-9-11
believe.
round one. Oh man.
Yeah,
I
he
won
had the
that one
first
as well.
spot,
Yeah.
and I had second pick, and I just kind of knew, oh, I'm probably screwed because I know this guy's good enough to play with like this juicy setup, and it just high rolled, and so
Yeah.
it wasn't there wasn't much dynamic to even do there. But the one with the vid was like, I think that was one of my better. Just we both locked in. We're like, let's do what we must, and not like fucking cheating or anything.
Sure,
It's
sure.
like playing a very
Collusion,
valid game. Yeah,
right?
I mean, Catan is like partially all collusion to a
No, for
degree,
sure. For sure.
but it's like no, when you can definitely exploit the best, try to get to the best situation with someone I think it's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah.
Um, because when you're cutthroat at each other, it's not fun because you're at someone's throat and they're also good, and so it's less fun to me.
No, most definitely. If you could change anything for 2026 nationals, what would
Like
you
the
provide?
format or
Yeah,
like
either the
the
format or the setting, where we played, kind of the structure.
well, it's just a whole new vibe, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
we got locals to regionals to nationals. I really don't know how to feel about the new format. I think my only concern has just been, like I said, about making nationals this year. Like the first year was about proving that I think I was good enough to like make a nationals, and then the next year was about meeting back up with everybody that I kind of met the year before. And so that's what nationals is going to be, or I wanted it to become, where it's just kind of like like yes, we're playing a competitive game, but it's also like a high school reunion or something where
yeah.
you're just seeing everybody again, and that social advantage to such a niche board game and competitive community is what makes it special inherently. So kind of removing that to the scale of what nationals will be next year, it's like I don't know how to process it, and I don't know how influential the regionals will be to like also be kind of the meetups again still. So I don't know. I like having kind of a bigger tournament. I wish there was a way to like keep nationals to like 64
Yeah.
at least. Like I think making nationals a bigger something is cool, but I kind of understand what they're trying. I have no idea how it will turn out, but I like the social aspect and having so many people in this weird game around.
No, I really liked the amount of people. I just know that it's not, or at least what I consider to be best for a competitive structure. I always thought that more than 100 was pretty hard, but there's definitely a sweet point that's better than 16. But
Yeah. I do
it's,
like the aspect of making it so it's not only that people are kind of winning a local, because to be fair, like I think I don't honestly, no matter how skilled you are to agree, I think a lot of just random people can win a local, especially if
yeah,
it's small enough. So I do like that there's incentive to like win that and then go above and beyond, be past that kind of level to then like make a national tournament. I like that idea in theory. So that's one positive.
Uh,
But again, I have no idea.
One thing that changed from 24 to 25 season was they lowered it from 16 player minimum requirement to 12, which I think overall hurt the experience. I was talking briefly with Drew about this, that, and a lot of people don't believe me, but I'm working on compiling the information that based on 2025's performance, people that won regionals with that were much smaller did a lot worse at nationals this year than those that played in
Oh,
bigger
that's
events.
interesting.
Um,
Oh.
with
Yeah, I
20
mean
or
that
less.
yeah,
Uh,
that pulls off what I said, and that's interesting. Yeah, even 16. I mean, that makes sense in my head because there's a lot of tournaments where, like, yeah, you just have to hit 12 people, and if say you have 10, they just pull like two random people aside from
right.
out of nowhere, and this like you're playing this now, or you play one round, and then that's all you have to play in technically, for it to like count as valid. So yeah, I kind of agree. I think like 16 should definitely be. I don't understand 12. And then if you lose people in a game, like the three player games and like a 12-person turn, I don't know, like stuff like
Oh,
that just strikes me weird.
I feel like they should have bumped
Yeah.
it back to 16. I know 20 is pretty rough depending on if you're in a smaller area or smaller state,
Yeah.
but 12, especially when people don't know this either, but to make it an official qualifier, you only have to start with 12. So there were people
Yeah.
that won a tournament that actually only played 6 other people in round 2 and round 3. Like it
Yeah.
was.
It's 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 odd because we're in this niche community and it is niche. Like this competitive scene isn't that big, to a degree of course what it could be. So it's like yes, they need some leg room to kind of develop it a little more and get, I don't know, get more people involved and hopefully have more tournaments because you're doing that. But at the same time, yes, for like once you starting to get to the thick of it and like actual competitiveness to a level, like yeah, there should be some standard of quality control to a degree. And that I think just makes nationals a better experience in general because you don't have people coming out away like having these weird games or odd games where they feel like one or two people were just completely disconnected. But I mean, that's also just part of this game and just learning to play with anybody. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just part of the battle to a degree. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I never wanted to gatekeep the competitive scene. It's just I think keeping things consistent across events is something that could be improved on. Well, I'm excited though that
Yeah,
going from the local to regional level, Studios has stated that the regionals will only be run by them, volunteers, or by people they approve as qualifier, like judges or whatever. So it won't just be like some board game store owner or some, person that barely
yeah,
knows the game rules.
that should be. I think when you like make that difference from local to regional, I think you're also stating the difference between like who's running it. Like these are locals, and it's like you have local community aspect, and then once you step into regionals, there has to be like some bigger hand in the mix. At least again for quality control and just to make sure things go smoothly. So I mean that's good.
No, 100%. I guess I got one more question before we wrap up. If you were giving advice to someone looking to either join the over the board scene or someone that only plays online and is considering playing over the board, what would you suggest or recommend? A bit of a
I'd
tough question.
recommend I would recommend the way it happened for me. I think I got involved to this point where it was just through the pandemic. I played a random game. I used to just play any random games with friends at any time. I don't play a lot of board games, but I played one game of Catan. I was taught it, won the first game, and I was just like addicted from there. And then I just started playing Catan Universe when I was up and just hammering games on there. And it wasn't a while until I actually got laid off from a job. I was just like, all right, I think I'm okay at this game. Like I wanna try to play this competitively. I just did a Google search and landed in the Catan Championship Discord. So for me, I think the gateway or like the good progression is falling in love in this game is just like play online for a little bit to understand the mechanics and relationships of like placements and just like board awareness and kind of throw away the social aspect aside for now because I know online can still be toxic and I just don't think the social game of like online ranked play is like real Catan to me
Yeah,
to a degree,
it's
or
not.
just like what these games will end up being if you do decide to play in a tournament or a community. So I think, but using that from like a starting beginner technical standpoint, I think is a good idea. So that when you jump in to these leagues and everyone's chill, like, and we love new people, like, there's like the classic of joining maybe a league game and people have been there for 3 years and so they might give you some shit because it's like, oh, you aren't aware of that. But at heart, like everybody wants new people, everybody wants new personalities. So I like the idea of like by the time you're playing in these discords and like have some familiarity with like the game to a little competitive, it then just start being involved in the social dynamics, the social play, getting to know someone for a while, and like then playing like these more in-depth games with them. And I think that inherently then got me interested in the tournament play. I didn't know tournaments existed until shout out to Poppy. I don't know where he ever went to, but he just like started talking about it in the league. I'm like, wait, there's tournaments for this? And like by the time I was already going to those tournaments, I was generally pretty good at the game. And
Yeah,
I was just having a lot of fun and like I like love in-person tournaments now. So like having some natural progression maybe to ease your way in, because I know some people could maybe end up on a table in person that's like competitive and then be immediately discouraged because they don't necessarily mold with the strategy people are doing or the table talk. But like slowly getting adapted into it, I think a lot like works for this type of game. And then I think a lot of those players then start playing in person and start playing very well to start, honestly.
totally.
I
I
think the
agree with you.
mold of the pipeline of like online to then just immediately being good in person is like happening. And it's cool to see because I think these Discord games go in like deep lengths over many years of people playing, and then by the time you hit in person, like you just have a lot of reps that were good reps. Because I know some people have played this game over the board for a long time, but I would still say you could play them and think they're considerably a little weaker because maybe the games they're playing just haven't been to the lengths they can go. Um, so that's kind of how I suggest if someone's getting competitive. Otherwise, just play the game chill. And I
Yeah,
think competitive people, and I do this myself, when you're playing with just regular people, just be a nice person and just let people get what they want and do things like teach people the game. Don't be like, oh, I gotta win now. Like it's so stupid. You already
yeah.
do that enough like in your own world. Like let people enjoy, like maybe win some games for themselves, because like honestly winning a game for the first time you play it gets you like, I don't know
It
what the
gets you
stat would be.
hooked.
It's
Yeah,
probably you're like probably 5 times more likely to like fall in love with the game and want to play more instead of being like immediately dejected, like, oh, I lost, I suck, I don't really want to care to go into this. So that's
yeah.
what I would say.
No, I love that, man. Well, hey, no, I really appreciate your time. This was very insightful. I enjoy talking with people like this. And, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No, for sure. Did you want to say anything as your sign out?
All I have to say is, as I continue to go along this game, I'm trying to promote more the vibe meta. And the vibe meta is we can still play just really good games while having a lot of fun, get to know more people along the way. And as much as I really am saying I want to get competitive, maybe be a little more aggressive table talk wise, part of why I love this is I get to just chill, be myself, and vibe a lot of the times and still do remotely well enough that I'm like happy with myself. And so I wish just like we could all do that more and like put less like I don't know, put less on the line on it. And I think if you have more fun, you have more good games and you'll feel better along the way. So uh go vibe
Oh,
meta.
vibe. Go vibe meta. Alrighty, man. Well, hey, thank you again. I really appreciate it. And shoot, we'll probably see each other in a tournament at some point.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Alrighty, man. Take care.